It is rare you see a president of the United States intervene in whatever an individual company is doing. They'll speak broadly about the sector or what have you. But this past weekend proved just how involved the president can be, not just on the GM case and personally wanting to ground Boeing's jets, the ones that are in question in these latest accidents, but even talking about things like the Fox lineup, what anchors he likes and doesn't like, and Saturday Night Live, and whether that show should be scrutinized by the government. So is that the role of a president, or is that typical of this president and it works for him? Fox News contributor Gianna Caldwell, Democratic strategist Kristen Hahn, and the Washington Examiner's Phil Wegman. Phil, he inserted himself into a lot of areas some would say are not presidential or something he shouldn't do, delegate, maybe have others do. What do you think?
Well, I think 2 years into this presidency, this isn't going to shock us because we know that this president consumes a lot of media, so it shouldn't come as a surprise that he's going to be a critic of that same media. I think that something that is kind of interesting about his talk about the Fox lineup is, for so long, the criticism of Fox has been that there's not enough of a distinction between the opinion side and the news side, but clearly the president sees that distinction and that he was going after news anchors while boosting some of the more opinion shows. So clearly he sees the difference and he has his favorites.
All right, he clearly does. But Kristen, on the one thing that came in the mix today, that none of that really registered for me, but what did is the criticisms of John McCain, not once but twice. The guy is dead. Whatever you think about him, leave it. You're the President of the United States. I understand there's bad blood between you even now, but leave it, and he can't.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. It seemed a little bit unhinged to me. I mean, to go after him, he's been dead for about 6 months, and that had to be painful for McCain's family as well. So, I was kind of looking through all the different, items that he addressed over the weekend. That was one of the more shocking ones.
Jenna, that is to points you've raised on this show elsewhere, and what Phil touched on. We've gotten used to that at all, but I dare say, I mean, it gets in the way of some of the other stuff that is clearly a success. The economy, the job momentum, whether you want to give the president all the credit. We certainly will blame the president if it's not going well. And that this steps on that message. This kind of stuff steps on it. What do you think?
I completely and totally agree. And I think one thing that you've done, Neil, is you've certainly made mention in monologues about what the president has said and what he didn't say and what was true and what wasn't true. And I think that's so important that we do that, especially in this particular day and age. Now, the thing is, President Trump has accomplished a lot of great things. Certainly, we talk about the unemployment rate across spectrums, African-American, Hispanic. Those are all good things. You talk about the fact that he said that he was going to bring jobs back to the U.S. and car companies, and people said that wouldn't be possible, it wouldn't happen. But yet we are seeing that it's happening. So those are some very positive things that he's done. But as I mentioned on this show, as you mentioned earlier, certainly when he gets to talking about something like, someone's face or making kind of really petty remarks, that drives away from his message and certainly drives the news coverage in another way. And that's part of the reason why I think it's going to be.
That's his intention, right? I mean, if you suddenly mention a low IQ Joe Biden, you're taking the focus off of yourself if, for example, this is the week the Mueller report comes out.
Well, I think that's important when you're talking about political opponents in that way. I think that's great. He should talk about political opponents in whatever way. But the problem is he doesn't just do that with political opponents.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is people see great success in his administration, but they also want a president they can feel good about. And that's where it becomes problematic for this president.
Phil, is it going to hurt him if he continues it, or to your point, we're just used to it?
Well, so I talked to a lot of lawmakers in Wisconsin this last week talking about whether or not Republicans can win that state in 2020. And two congressmen in particular, Representative Sean Duffy in the more rural north part of the state, and then also Jim Sensenbrenner, who is in the suburbs of Milwaukee. Both of these guys said that in order to win both rural voters and suburban voters at the same time, that you need to talk about policies, not necessarily personality. So this is something that Republican members are taking a very close look at, moving forward to 2020, and they seem to be on one side of the issue. They would like him to talk about the economy.
Kristen, I think the line I heard from a lot of people, they like the economy. They're talking about voting. They like the economy, like what's going on. They don't like him. And the Democrats want to seize on the don't like him part. I don't know how true that is, but what do you think?
Especially suburban women.
Yeah, I think I agree. If the midterm's any indication about suburban women, I think that's true. People vote with their heart. We know that they're emotional about it, and so I think that the president actually, he's gotten away with calling his. You're saying it's okay to say whatever you want about his political opponents. I think that we should stop short of calling people names like he did last time around. I'm not sure that that's going to that's going to play well for him again. He does have a very dedicated base, though, so, you know,
but that base will
have to
only
see.
get you so far. All right, guys, I want to thank you all very, very much.